or a woman is menstruating during a specific period, then it is considered that there's something bad going to happen. Or if it happens during an occasion or during a festival, then the poor thing, she is outcasted. She is not a part of that festival or ritual at all. We got to know about other sustainable products. So these products are reusable cloth pads and menstrual cup. Now there is a huge taboo around these two products as well. And when we got to know about it, we wanted to know how safe it is. So we, the members, female members of the group, started using it.
Hey guys, welcome back to Rapport with Thoughts. We have Team Muse with us, and so far we have learnt about their inception, ideology and campaigns such as Save a Life, Back Pakad Jagah Bana and movie screenings. If you haven't watched this episode, make sure you're watching this because now we are moving on to the second episode of our interview with Team Muse. Alright, have you ever openly talked about periods and menstruation with your friends and family members? I bet most of us have not even had this thought till date. And even if you did, we were always in the dilemma, how do we start such conversations like periods or menstruations? But Muse, through period of sharing, is creating a very friendly space for all of us. Be it youth or a person who is in his 40s, 50s or 60s, they are making sure every individual has appropriate knowledge about the subject and creating an awareness about more sustainable products to be used. Their hard work and efforts are being recognized and being appreciated by Arjun Kapoor himself with his first edition of Bend the Gender Award. They have also been appreciated and their hard work is being acknowledged by the Logical Indian group. So please, help me in welcoming Bhavya and Amrita from Team Muse. Hi Amrita.
Hi.
Hi Bhavya.
Hi.
So while I was researching about Muse, I learnt about period of sharing and Masikam also. So what increased my curiosity is that Masikam also is itself one of a kind and it's a festival which has been initiated by Muse and it's first in India. So before we jump to Masikam also, I would like to know in detail what people sharing is all about and what is the exact ideology of this campaign.
So when Muse started off, we did not think about menstruation at all, and we happened to visit a school in Kahanu, which is managed by SK Sunaya Trust. So we went there and we got to know that the children there, the students, female students, do not have constant access to sanitary napkins. And when we more researched about it, we tried to know about it through the principal of the college and other teachers. We got to know that menstruation is a taboo. People do not prefer speaking about it, even in the classrooms. And back at home, obviously, they do not want to talk about it at all. So often when children, they are growing up and when they see some sort of modification, changes happening in their body, they feel that this is something bad because they do not have proper information about it. And often what happens is this entire cycle is associated with all the negative things in your life. So it's considered as a bad omen. So if somebody, a girl or a woman is menstruating during a specific period, then it is considered that there's something bad going to happen. Or if it happens during an occasion or during a festival, then the poor thing, she is outcasted. She is not a part of that festival or ritual at all. And we also wanted to tackle the supply of sanitary napkins. So back then we were not really informed about other options that were available. So what we realized is, in the cities, Dahanu is not very far from Mumbai. So we can probably reach out to them and help them. So we understood that in the cities we get packets for as cheap as 30 rupees. And this is an amount which nobody would want to, would openly want to donate. So 30 rupees is not a big amount. So we could tap in even audience like our college friends. So spending 30 rupees from their pocket money and they know I'm ensuring a girl's monthly period, that somewhere made them feel good about it. And we started first connecting with our friends. Later on it went viral. We started putting WhatsApp messages, we started broadcasting it, we started uploading it on Facebook. And through the social media we got more viewers and people started contributing. Later on, it wasn't just people from Mumbai and Thane. We had people from Hyderabad, Delhi. They would send in huge orders through various e-commerce sites, and we would get around 200 to 500 packages packets of napkins a month. So we would donate around 300 packets every month to this school. There was a milk van which would go from Somya and Vidya Vihar to this school once a week. So we would go and donate our stuff to the trust. Later on, we would put it in the milk van and then gets delivered to the college, to the school. And the principal would give us an acknowledgement informing that they have received the napkins. Later on, when we wanted to know what happens after they use it, we got to know that the disposal was a concern. So they either would dig a pit and put all these napkins and burn it, or other measures are like just dig it and let it be. So we realized that because of plastic and other chemicals, it is not good for the environment around, and plus you are contaminating the soil, which could probably be a land where you can grow food. And later on, we tried to know more about what are the other options. So we came across a product called incinerator, and we donated one incinerator to the school. But then that wasn't a complete solution. Later on, as and when year passed by, so we started period of sharing in the year 2004. And by end of 2016, 17, in the beginning of 2017, we got to know about other sustainable products. So these products are reusable cloth pads and menstrual cup. Now there is a huge taboo around these two products as well. And when we got to know about it, we wanted to know how safe it is. So we, the female members of the group, started using it. We slowly started using reusable cloth pads, and some started using menstrual cups. Reusable cloth pad now has developed a lot. It's not just a piece of fabric which you have to fold and then place it on your panty and you can wear it. It looks quite similar to the sanitary napkins. It's got wings, it's got buttons, so it stays safe. And because there are flannel sheets which is very similar to cotton, it's completely safe for the body as well as for the environment. So when you discard it after a particular period of time, you are not releasing any kind of toxins back into the nature. Because it's organic, it degrades. It completely degrades within a period of few months, which does not happen in sanitary napkins. Sanitary napkins are often made with it's a concoction of a lot of chemicals and the plastic which ensures leak-proof. That causes a lot of skin rashes, fungal infection, disease growth, because plastic is like a sheet that conceals that particular area. It traps a lot of heat there and unrequired moisture, because of which girls often complain about rashes and yeast growth after their periods. But then people never think about what goes into making a pad. And like earlier, I also never thought what I was expecting is my pad should be leak-proof and convenient for me to wear for a particular period of hours. But then later when I got to know how uncomfortable I was, I really wanted to make that switch, and that is how I started using a menstrual cup in 2017 Jan. So it's been a year and a half, approximately a year and a half, and I would never go back to using a sanitary napkin, because that is how comfortable I feel. I do not fear periods anymore. So back then when I was a pad user, I used to fear because there used to be approximately a week's internal bleeding and then around 4 to 5 days of external healing because of rashes and other boils that I would get the other day. Later on, when I got to know how comfortable this is, we wanted to share this information with as many people as possible, and that is how we came up with this idea of conducting sessions in societies, school, colleges, offices. So where we give information, we do not force this idea to anybody. We need people to be aware about what goes into making a pad, a sanitary napkin, or a tampon. Because if you don't know, then it is a huge risk that you're taking with your own health. And obviously, when you discard it, there's various problems, because it is supposed to come under the medical waste, because it has human blood on it and it can cause a lot of viruses. But unfortunately, it goes into the kitchen waste, and then it's segregated by unorganized sanitation workers, and they do not have any equipment which keeps them safe. Then it lands up in our landfill where there are dogs and cows nibbling on them. You see, there is a part of a small animals surviving on this kind of waste, and you happen to drink the same milk, right? Because you never know which cow has eaten it. Exactly. And it's also, so later on, a lot of our soil, contaminating our soil, and a lot of gases goes into our air. So we are not just abusing our body with chemicals, but the environment, animals, as well as the sanitation workers, which people do not care about at all. As far as the waste goes out of our house, we are not concerned. But the day when it piles up in our house, within our house, that is when people all fear. Once it is out of their eyesight, people do not care about it at all. But this is one issue that we have started recognizing, that it is there everywhere. You just have to look towards your right, and at the moment you are out, there are huge dustbins overflowing, and you will see at least one diaper or a sanitary napkin open in the air. Which means that there is a problem, but then people are not sensitive enough to identify it as a problem. As far as it is not happening to a person, they wouldn't consider it as a problem. So we also try to talk about taboos. We talk about the products that's available and why should they make this switch. And then later on we leave it down to the audience to make that decision. Because obviously my part is to educate you. You are wise enough, once you have the information, you are wise enough to make a choice for yourself. So that is how our session operates. And later, so once we started using menstrual cup, and so I'll explain a bit about these two products. Like I told you, reusable cloth bags are made of flannel sheets. So there are around 7 to 8 flannel sheets inside a bag, which absorbs the liquid, the menstrual liquid. And then after a particular period of time, you just have to wash it off and then dry it under the sun, so that all the possible bacteria that must have left while washing is killed under the sun rays. In case you do not have access to sun rays, say for example there is a huge building or another project which blocks sun rays, you should at least make sure that you dry it enough in open air, or especially during the monsoon, you can just rub a hot iron over it. And menstrual cups, it's actually made of surgical graded silicone. So silicone is the same material that people often use, not people, surgeons often use to modify body, knee replacement. And this is also one of the material used in babies' bottle nipples, which means you cannot obviously shove a plastic piece into a baby's mouth, right? Which means you need to be very safe and particular about what goes into a baby or a human body. That because it is safe, menstrual cup is also made of silicone, surgical graded silicone. One of the best part about characteristic of silicone is it does not let bacteria colonize on it. Which means even if it is collecting the blood inside your body, there is no possible contamination. However, you have to make sure that you practice certain hygiene. You cannot just use it as and when required. You have to keep it in comfortable, hygienic places. You have to sterilize it before and after use. So these are a few. We also give them information on how to use them. And so once it is inside the body, it collects the liquid for, say, depending on the flow of the person, it collects the liquid. You have to gently take it out of your body, empty the liquid in a commode or a wash basin, and then wash it, reuse it again. So if you purchase a cup, you can go up to, which will last you for approximately 8 to 10 years. So can you see the amount of money that you are saving? No chemicals in your body, not contaminating the environment around you, and you are not even impacting the lives of sanitation workers. So we give out this kind of information to people. But then there are a lot of people who come back to us and say cloth is unhygienic, it can lead to cancer. There are a lot of people talking against cloth. My question to them is, if cloth leads to cancer, why do we wear clothes? Right? Which means if you maintain a fabric and if it can last you for a year or two, if you buy a shirt, if you buy an expensive shirt, you would want it to last for a particular period of time, right? You maintain it well, you wash it in a proper water detergent, you dry it in a good area, you preserve it. That you have to follow the same practice for reusable cloth bags. You have to ensure that it is clean every time you use. You have to maintain a certain level of hygiene. If you use something which just lies around the corner or isn't dried properly and has a lot of moisture and probably dust and other contamination, that will obviously lead to cancer or any other problem. That is the same concern with food as well. If you have a local food which probably is not in a good area, the water used to making that food is not hygienic, you will obviously get some sort of waterborne disease, right? So this is the same practice that you have to follow in club pad as well. So this is the information that we give out, and post we give out, we have received a lot of positive response where people have walked up to us and they have said that I want, if not me, I want at least my daughters to start using club pads, and later on, once they reach maybe the age of 19 to 20, where they have enough knowledge how to use a cup, then they graduate their daughters to using a cup. So when I see that I make at least one lady change her mind in a session of say 50 or 100, I feel I have done my part and I have succeeded. Even if one person makes a change, we are saving a lot of napkins from going into the dumping ground or contaminating our planet. It is high time we think about it, if not about the planet, at least about ourselves, because you are feeding your body with a lot of chemicals subconsciously, and nobody will tell you why not to use them. Unfortunately, very few gynecologists know about menstrual cups because they do not have enough exposure about this product at all. And this product is not a new product on our planet. It is there since the 1930s.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so we are almost going to hit a century soon, and still for people it is a taboo or a new product. When I talk to them, they feel maybe it's in the market for the past 5 years, and then I say no, it's not there.
Well, even I was assuming the same, right? I felt like.
Yeah, that is because you will not earn much profit if you get into this business, because you lose out on a customer for the next 8 or 10 years until and unless your customer is not careless about using a cup. So there is this challenge, but then considering our population, I don't feel that should be a concern. So whenever I get an opportunity, I talk to women, I talk to men about menstrual cups. I encourage men to give their girlfriends or sisters this cup, and then they always have that face. How can we give this to our partner or our sisters? But then that is one small step you can do to at least encourage your sister or your female friend from making them realize this is absolutely natural and it is one of the most beautiful things that happens to a woman. This gives you the power to give birth. So whenever people tell me this blood is impure or not good, I ask them a question. The same blood that is utilized to form a baby for the next 9 months when a lady conceives, the baby, once it is out, you would want to take the baby to the church or the temple, worship him, take good care of him. But the same blood, when not required, is flushed out of your body. How does that become impure? And then nobody has an answer to it. So this is one question.
It's a checkmate question, actually.
Exactly. So in case in future if you ever come across this
I'll
question,
definitely
use this. When I ask, especially the senior citizens, like the old ladies, when I talk to them, they definitely do not like the idea of accepting it or openly talking about it. When I question them this, then they are absolutely clueless. So one thing that I've noticed is we have stopped questioning people. There are a lot of myths which says you are not supposed to do this, you are not supposed to do that during menstruation. Question, why? Because when I hit puberty and I started my menstrual cycle, I asked what's happening to me, and I was given the same information that this is impure blood that's being flushed out of your body. And my question is, why only me? Why isn't this blood coming out of men's body? Even they have the same system, right? And my mom was like, no, you shouldn't question much. You just have to use this product, then that's how you have to spend your life. I started questioning why. Why shouldn't I touch achar ka bhanni during when I'm on my periods or visit a temple? There is an answer to it. But then the thing is, people have stopped questioning because they feel if I question my elders, it is a sign of disrespecting them. It's a gesture of disrespecting them, which is absolutely not right. So my question is, whenever your daughter comes back from school or your son comes back from school asking a question that I did not understand this particular portion of the chapter, what do you tell them? Question the teacher, sawal karo. That is how you will receive an answer. The same thing, when you get such information from your friends, from your elders, ask them why. Not that you're trying to disrespect, so that you have enough information. So the achar ka barni is very simple. Back then we did not have a high level of hygiene. Today we have hand wash, hand sanitizer, paper soap, a lot of variety. You just have to go there. You have 24/7 access to water. Back then we did not have the soap at all or shampoo at all. So the only means how you could wash your hands is plain water. So there is a possibility that some bacteria must have been left in your nails or in your hand. And imagine taking one piece of achar from that barni, which you actually preserve for a year, which obviously contaminates.
Right?
That is why people say do not touch it, because there is a possible contamination. But today, with this high level of hygiene, I don't think so practicing it again makes sense. Because back then we did not have hygiene. Very simple.
Right.
And following today, I do not understand how does it make our life any simple. And people say it's not good. Why? Why is it not good? There is no differentiation. Men have a role, women have a role. And when it is not required, it is just flush out of our body.
And why do you believe people, they don't let you girls visit temple during the menstruation cycles?
So it's just, so there is one information that I received this. Back then, we were not as populated as we are today. So temples are often like 5 kilometers away, 7 kilometers away. So the very reason why women are asked not to perform any activities is because back then women would do more of activities which is got to do with a lot of bending. Like cleaning the floor, washing utensils and clothes. During that time or during periods, you feel a lot of pressure and pain on your lower abdomen. So you are asked to take some rest during that period. And walking for such a long distance, visiting temples is often considered to be draining her out, draining her energy. She is anyway feeling the pain. And then during that period, walking to the temple and then coming back, it is often meant that you take rest, you do not have to do anything. So there's nothing that you would enter a temple and contaminate it. It's just that time, the energy level of the lady is so low that you cannot expect her to do the daily chores or any other activities. That's it. But there are still other beliefs which says if you enter, a menstruating woman enters a temple, the lady has the power to pull the God's energy and stuff like that, which I don't understand how relevant it is. But then my only answer is, why don't you make an attempt?
Right.
During periods, have you ever said, oh my God, has God punished you for that? No, right? So, I know it's just that negativity builds into your mind and you attract negativity during that period. That's it.
People have been following this paper a long time, right?
So, even today, when I hesitate a bit when I have to go towards the temple area of my house, and then I realize, oh, I have been trained that way. Nothing wrong is going to happen.
Exactly, people are wired differently.
Yeah, exactly. Some people are asked not to enter kitchen at all. Right? What's going to happen? Nothing at all. And if people around you don't know that you're menstruating and if you enter the kitchen, nobody is going to question. Exactly. So it's just that it's there in your mind. You just have to let it go.
So, but this was very informative. Even I learned a lot. I didn't know about menstrual cups, but the details you went into. Now I'm quite aware what menstrual cup is all about, and I'll definitely recommend today itself to my sister. I have an interest. So, but having said that, I also want to know, you just shared, you guys used to donate sanitary napkins at Dahanu. So what happened to that moment once you realized sanitary napkins are, they damage our environment in certain ways? So how do you still provide them with the facilities?
So we did not abruptly stop giving the aid. We obviously had to continue it because these girls were dependent on us. But we also started conducting sessions, building a rapport between these girls to at least start talking about menstruation as a topic. And we have been associating with other organizations to help us tap this kind of audience to switch to sustainable products. Because sustainable options are a bit expensive, we try to associate with few brands who could give us at nominal prices, and then we hand over this solution to them. So best part about cloth pad is you can make it at home. once you know how it works, you can absolutely make it at home because it's a few pieces of cloth and then you just have to stitch it.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. So whenever I talk to people from the lower income group, I do not ask them to buy one from the market. I just ask them, if you know how to stitch, you can make one at your home itself. You have a lot of videos on YouTube which teaches you that. So this is one of the ways that how we tackle it. But currently we have stopped the supply of sanitary napkins, and our prime aim is to make these girls convince and switch to sustainable products. So whoever are comfortable with menstrual cups, we help them with menstrual cups. The ones who are used to following the cloth pattern,
So the major challenge, what I believe is, it's difficult to convince a person, to switch. So how do you make people comfortable around this topic? And if you happen, you just told me like you conduct seminars, but attracting people to just come to the seminar and sit and just listen to what you guys wanted to say, how do you do it?
So whenever we tell people that we are organizing a session on menstrual hygiene, the first thing that comes into their mind is, oh, there's another group who will come and talk about periods and pads and stuff like that. Then we really have to. So that's a challenge actually. So
Exactly, you guys have to differentiate because I know many groups who are doing these things, but Muse is specifically targeting about menstrual cups, right? So how do you make that paradigm shift from sanitary napkins to menstrual cups?
So it is a challenge to get this kind of audience because they feel it's another session talking about periods. Then we really convince them. If need be, we try to associate with one of the influential person in that community, and then we tell that person why this session is different from other sessions. And then our prime objective is to talk about sustainable products. Once that person is convinced, then more or less our task is reduced because they have the power to influence and call a lot of people. Like for example, it could be a teacher from one particular community, it could be a yoga trainer from a particular community, because they will be open to understanding such concepts, and if you are an influential person, people would want to participate. There are instances where we were informed that there would be 50 women attending, but we get only 10 women. But once they attend that session, these 10 women, then they say, you should come again because next time these 10 women act the role of this influential person and they get at least 5 people per lady. So that becomes a lot of people. That way, we don't mind conducting as many number of sessions as far as we can reach to a larger audience. Once we finish the session, people have walked up to me and said, I thought it's going to be another period session, but I'm really glad that you spoke about taboo, you spoke about pads, and people have also told me, thank you for not pressurizing this product to us. Because often what happens is some organizations are linked or associated to a brand. So what happens is if you're there, then at least you have to sell 10 products. So you have to push it. We do not push that. So they feel that liberty to go back home, research about it, and then get back to it. So when you do not pressurize that sale on them, they over a period of time feel the need to switch,
Right.
and then they come back asking for a cup or a pad.
So it's a company. I mean,
It's a small-
it's a chain reaction, right?
Yes.
You empower one person and then it
Yes.
carries on. So this reminds me of quote of Mahatma Gandhi. Like if you want to change the world, it starts from you.
Exactly.
Wonderful. I love the idea of sharing. Hey everybody, I hope this episode was absolutely game changer and very informative for all of us. I hope this episode creates an awareness about sustainable products such as menstrual cups and reusable cloth pads. I urge each and every one of you who has watched this episode to spark off such conversations with your friends and family members and create an awareness about the subject. And importantly, make sure you're creating an awareness about menstrual cups and reusable cloth pads, as these products do not harm our environment, which by the way is very important and a matter of concern for all of us. In the next episode, which happens to be our final episode with Team Muse, we are going to talk about Masika Mahotsav. Masika Mahotsav is first of its kind and it's the first menstrual festival of India. Yes, you did heard me right. I did say it's the first menstrual festival of India. So please stay tuned and watch for our updates.